Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we are back on the Forsyth Duster. Today we're going to remove the hood and look at the damage in that side of the hood where the hinge bolt's on and see what we can do to fabricate, repair, or replace that part. There's a whole lot to this, so don't go away. I'm Mike and you're watching My Car Shop. I had mentioned in the last episode in this car just a few days ago that next time you see it, it was going to be cleaned off, and it is. So we're going to pop the hood up here and see exactly how to pop the hood up here. There it is. See exactly what we've got to do. Yeah, so this side of the hood structure is okay-ish. It needs some work there. But the real problem is over here. And rather than take you over here and show you all of this, I think what we're going to do is we're going to unbolt the hood and get it over onto a fender stand so we can really look at it and see what we need to do, because it needs work. It's bad. Yep. Just getting these bolts out of here might be a challenge. Yep. Make sure I got... Yep. Oh, it's a 12-point. I need a 6-point socket. I'll be right back. As I was stating, ay caramba. Trying not to use too big of a ratchet on that, but holy crap, that's tight and rusty. It's going to rip that one out, I guarantee it. We'll have to rebuild that. See if this one comes loose. Nope. All right. Going to have to get some crystal blue persuasion. It's so rusted in there. What's going to end up happening, I know, is even if I put lubricant on there, those nuts are probably going to slip out of the metal. Well, it's a plate. It might not. Let's get a little bigger ratchet and see what happens, and maybe we'll spray a little Lubadobber on there. Was able to put some liquid wrench up in the holes, the rust holes that are there. Oh, that's what I figured. All right, that's okay. In some ways, I'd rather that. That one came loose. Praise the Lord and pass the potatoes. All right, I'm going to loosen ones on the other side now. The way I do this is I take the back bolt out, loosen the front bolt, and let the hood pivot down, and then take the bolts out. This one's going to come out. So we only broke the one. Hopefully the other side goes better. Tripping over this.
So what are we doing?
Taking
it to there?
Yep, to this.
Which side am I on?
This side. I don't want you tripping over that hoist. So.
Where do I have to hold?
Wherever you want. Just this is what we're taking. So, okay, take it easy because I've got to climb all over everything here. Ah! Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay. Well, okay, you're backing right into the...
I know.
Go that way. Okay. Very good. Now, stand it up. And over. Okay. I'll probably put another one under it, but it's good enough for now. I can handle it from there. Thank you. This is what I got to fix. So. That's nothing. This is a little bit, but this is the worst. The hood actually buckles because it's so rusted. So I have a really good hood for it, but we're trying to preserve all the panels from this thing. So thank you. That's all I needed. I just knew I couldn't come over the bay lift carrying it myself. So here's what we're dealing with. It's pretty solid up into here, and then it starts getting punk. And then it's pretty good back in here again. There's a mouse nest in there, which is what caused this. You can see it. So mice get in there. They build their little nests and then they pee in that, and mouse pee is extremely acidic and causes all kinds of havoc. So one thing we need to do with this is get this profile correct, because it is bent right now. So we'll have to work on that. We will use this side as our guide so we got an idea what it needs to be. It looks like it's pretty well straight, and I thought it was, but said we also have other hoods to reference if we need to. So that's where we're at. So I think the place to start with this is I'm going to try to take this out intact so I can make a new one to just replace this piece. I don't really want to cut apart one of my other hoods. These things are getting old. Even my 74 hood that I have upstairs is still, that's 50 years old. So 50 years old? Yeah, it is. Holy crap. Wow. Anyway, so why cut apart a 50-year-old hood that could be used on another project? We're fabricators. Let's fabricate stuff. Alrighty, so I want to check this flatness here. And it's, for the most part, it's flat. So that's good. That means we know our target over here, which is still way off. But I could work on really reefing on that. But I think once I get this structure cut out of here, that's going to make the difference. So I need to check the strength of this and determine how far up I'm going. How do I want to do that? Probably just take a little hammer and go tunk, 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 and come up to where the metal is solid. Hopefully I don't have to go up this far, but the only way we're going to know is to learn. Oh, there's a nice tool over there. Pretty solid up in here, I think. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm going to get a marker and mark out exactly where I'm going to cut this so I know what I'm doing. Because, I don't know what I'm doing. There's two ways I could approach this. Is I could leave all of this here, make the pieces, and put them in by, make a piece that goes from here to here and make that part and all of that. And I've really thought about doing that. But the other way I could do this is to just cut this out and leave this piece intact, removed from this project, and then I still may end up piecing it back together in pieces, but at least if I'm making if I have this as a reference pattern over here, and I can make my piece to duplicate it. So I'm waffling back and forth on it. Well, let's mark out where I'm taking it first. So the metal back in here is good. So I'm going to leave as much of that as I can. Let's come down here like this. Down along like this. And we'll come up to about here and across. We got an issue there. I'm uncertain of that. But if I can stay up above this radius here, that makes things a lot easier. And then we can come back like this, around like this. And unfortunately, we're going to have to dip down here like this. But I think that's not a bad way to go. Like so. So, what I'm doing, I'm letting the part talk to me. I think I know how I'm going to do this now. So I got the cutter out. I was planning to just cut this all out of here and be done with it. Got to think. I'm not good at it. It hurts. It hurts really bad. I'm not going to second guess myself. I'm going to go with my guts. And here's my rationale. I can't really straighten this the way it needs to be straightened as long as this structure's in here. So from the perspective of making the pieces, it might be easier to leave it, make the pieces and fit them in. But from the perspective of trying to get this flatness done the way it needs to be done, I think I'm wiser to cut this out as one piece if possible and just set it aside. I always have the other side as reference. So it's got rust holes over there too. We're going to be doing some patching over there more than I thought, but that's okay. So that's what we're going to do. I think that makes the most sense on this because I really need to be sure to get this flat And with this piece of rusty metal in here, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to accomplish that. So let's get the cutter out and get after it. There we go, and this is the culprit right there. That's what causes all of that. I changed my plan a little as I was going along because I realized that I could use this as an edge to run my metal inside of here so that I wouldn't have to come down into this curvature. So I like that. So I think the next thing I want to do is get a suction device, and well, maybe we don't need to. Nope, I guess we don't. I was thinking we needed to suck all that out, but I think we're okay. So we'll just get the blowgun, blow a little bit of dust out of there, and start coming up with a plan, Stan. So I'm going to take one of my engine brushes and just run down in all of these places to be sure that there's no more mouse nest stuff in there. I don't think there is, but a little bit. But I can reach all the way to the middle here, and then I can do the same thing from the other side, hopefully. That cleaned up nice, so that's good. All right, it's time to start making a patch. The other thing we have to do is either make or fix I think I'll just fix it, get this rusty bolt out of it if I can. If I can't, then we'll make something. But this needs to be captured inside. See, that's there. Yeah, it needs to be captured inside of here so it slides back and forth. So there's an inner structure that goes in here that this thing goes in so you can bolt the hood on but still leave it adjustable. So we're going to have to fabricate that. So this is going to be a bit of work. We're not going to get this all done in one session, but we're going to get a lot of it done in one session for sure. So, all right, I got to get some. I'm going to use 18 gauge on this, I think. I think that makes the most sense. Good heavy stuff. Yeah, this metal's pretty good up in here, so I think we'll be all right. Here's one of the reasons I like cutting stuff out, because I can make my patch very simple. I can take this piece, I can flatten it out, and I can trace it onto my metal, add a little bit more for what I want to go down in here, and boom, kazoom, we're in like Flynn. So that's the first piece I'm going to make, is the piece that goes here, because that doesn't get into all of this intricacy of inner structure and all of that happy horpay. And it's a simple little patch we can make and go from there. So let's get that done. Sorry for all the heater noises if you can hear them today. It is 3 degrees out today. All right, that gives me a good ballpark. And I'm an idiot because I don't remember which way that was in there. Okay. So we need to mark. This goes in. Okay. This is the bottom. Well, I just wrote on the dumb thing. You think I could see it. Okay, there it is. Yep, that's the bottom. So we're going to allow ourselves a little extra material there. Let's just open this up to create a little work surface here. Okay, I got to see what the... So from that point, it kind of arcs out a little bit. So we'll have to wing that. Probably the easiest way to do this is once I get this piece cut the way I want it, slip it under this edge and then just trace it. So we'll go with that. As long as my curve isn't too much, and I don't think it is. I'm confusing myself. Give me some time here. So I got out a piece of cardboard. That's the easiest way to do this. And I marked out where I wanted it, and I rubbed it along the edge with my fingers. Created a nice pattern here. Now we'll be able to cut that out. My reason for the pattern is I just want that profile from here to know where this goes up beyond there. So when we lay this out here, and it goes like this-ish, then I know that my piece of metal needs to be cut. Just like that. So I'm going to use this to lay it out like I already did, but then I'm going to use the template to get this curvature up in here where it's missing. So let's go over there and get her done. It's been quite a while since I went this in-depth in how I do this stuff, so this is actually good. So we're going to lay this out here. This is our edge. This is kind of the way it goes. There we go. And then we're going to bring this back like so. Okay. So that line there can go away. We're going to ignore that one. And I'm going to give myself some generous space on this because it's just roughed, right? So I don't know exactly how that's going to fit in there, but we'll get that cut up. And let me double check that again, make sure that I'm happy with that. Yep, I am. It's actually a little bit steep in here. This is a little bit much in here, but that's okay. We'll grind that in. So, okay, let's cut her up. Before anybody blows a gasket, I was making sure there weren't sparks hitting the 47. So, all right, that's very good. I like that. So now see what I can do is I can take my marker. Actually, I'm going to take my scribe tool and real quick. And I got a burr there. It must be a little cold. But that way I can fine tune that where that needs to be on that edge. So I'm pretty pleased with that. This stuff takes a long time. It's kind of painstaking, but worth it. Another way I could do this, I suppose. Nah, I think I better stick with my original plan here. Okay. I'm going to take my grinder and dress that in a little bit and get her to fit. We'll be back and forth a while, so I'll share the end result. But I scribed my edge on there, and all I got to do now is just grind it out to fit that contour. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. It's really close. I can live with that. We'll come down this way just a little bit more, but now we got to figure out where we're going to bend it. So we need to create that bend starting right there. And it needs to be a fairly gradual bend. Probably right there. Well, I could probably do this in the break. Yeah, we can do this in the break. I just got to figure out on this end where it is. And that's why we keep these old pieces. See that? That's pretty much where she goes, is right in that vicinity. Piece of booger in the way right there, so we'll get that out of our way now. Let's do this. Let's get this kind of laid in place. Okay, and then let's get this kind of laid in place. Like that. Ish. So we know now that the top of our bend is right there and right there. So we will make a line and we'll do our cuts to, that we always do, and we'll try this in the break, and hopefully we don't end up with too sharp of an edge. That's a bit of a loose one, but if we do it in a couple of little passes, we should be okay. Because we need a bend that's probably about that wide. So that should give me a clue right there. So let's center it up. Okay, I'm going to go make my cuts and be right back. So there's our center point on that. You flip it over, now we know exactly where our center point is. Oops, we got a booger right there. We better grind that off. Okay, I realized also that I'm going to be bending it. It would be hard to clean that metal, so I went ahead and did that. Let's get over to the sheet metal break now, and we'll start sneaking our way into this, the way this fits. So there she goes like that. We're getting really close. Really close. We just need a little more bend. Our top is good to that point there, so we just need to add a little more bend at that third line. So I'll take you over and show you how I'm doing this, but I'm really liking the way that's coming out. I like it a lot, but we have to get it so it fits down in there. And it may be just a little bit too wide yet. As far as this bottom edge probably needs to be trimmed off a little bit, but that's my goal, is like that. So we are not going to have a perfect line down here. We're not going to have a perfectly butt welded line down there, but I think this is the smart way to do it so that we have good structural integrity with a little bit of an overlap there. So what I did was I came in here, I put my metal in about 3/16 of an inch beyond the line, bent it. I didn't clamp it down real tight. Then I put it on the line. Again, I didn't clamp it. I just kind of did this with it and held it and then bent it. And then I spun it around and I bent it about 3/16 the other side of the line that way. So what we need to do now is bend it on this side again, because we want our bend down low. I'm going to come down here where this is a little bit tighter. 3/16-ish. Probably about there. Okay. And again, I'm clamping it this time. I'm going to give her a pretty good reef. I think that's a pretty good curve. We may need to do a little hammer and dolly to make that a little better, but overall, it's actually a little bit beyond center. So that's okay. I don't mind that. We can bring it back easy enough. Oh yes, I forgot to account for something. It's all good. There's a little bit of a there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there or not. Let me check the other side. Nope, it's damage. That's good. That's good to know. So we need to take and tink that out a little bit. I've got my wide vice grips that'll straighten that out. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. That's exactly what I made these for. Years ago, I worked in engineering, put them on the, I chucked up these blocks and did them on the mill, and then welded them on. I've had those for eons. Did that way back when I worked for Orbital Engine Company out of Perth, Australia. Okay, we got a couple of issues there, but not much. I wonder who wrote the Book of Love. It's a little bit, I think it needs to tweak down just a little bit. There we go. Yep, it's pretty good. Still needs to come out just a little bit like this. I think that will help us. I can always hammer and dolly it back in once I get the part in. So see how that works. Yep. So I want to straighten this out just a little bit because it's, and I'll be right back. Really tickled with the way this is turning out. Yeah, I'm going to have a little metal work to do in there, but right now I want to take and with this clamped in place, I wish I could clamp it down here as well, but I can't. But we're really good and flush there. I like that. And this will be able to squeeze in just a little bit there to get our, we'll have to tap that down, but we'll start down in this corner here. And but I want to grind this all down real good and get it nice and clean and ready to rock and roll here. So let me get that done. I got to charge my camera, and we'll be back in a few. That looks outstanding. Really happy with the way that's fitting in. Yep, we'll have a little squeeze work to do there to get that in. No problem. Little hammer work there, no problem. But the other thing I've got to remember, and I almost forgot, was I got to get this bent. So I better do that before I get any further. I've got to get that hood bent in its proper place, or we're going to have a problem. Alrighty then, so I got a brace on here to help hold this right in this area. The hood has a nice curve to it. This is off a little in here compared to the other side, but obviously the most important thing is the outside edge. So I'm comfortable with that. This is fitting real nice in here now, so I'm going to get my welder and start tack welding that in a little bit, and we'll just go from there. I'm hoping I can get some bigger pliers down in here to squeeze that. I should be able to, but one way or another, we will make that work somehow. So, yeah, looking good. Really happy with the way that's turning out. All right, so there's what we got. This metal is super thin. Even where it's not rusty, it's super thin. So I'm struggling. A little bit of work to do in here. I may put a little patch in here. I'm not sure. That metal is just so thin, and it was cracked right there. That was where the biggest stress crack was. The rest of it's looking good. I'm not doing this down here yet. I have a plan for that we'll get in the future. I need to weld that better, but I have a plan. So the next steps now will be getting this next piece or maybe a couple of pieces done. But I think that turned out pretty respectable. So let me shoot that. A couple little boogers right there. But this is thinner than I mean, I thought this was really thin, and it is a bit thin. But even when I was up here in the good metal, I was still struggling. I think this is only 22 gauge steel here, which surprises me. I thought it would be 20. So it's like welding tinfoil, but we got it. You know, it's not perfect, but it's done. Nice little butt welds there. I think it turned out pretty darn good considering. So let's, so it don't rust, and we'll go from there. Well, that ain't too shabby. A little bit of finish work to do, but you know, structurally, I think we're in really nice shape now. So the next piece is going to be really complicated, and I'm out of time today. So yeah, but I'm pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased. I'm gonna hit that with just a little more of the old, you know, the psh, 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 psh. There we go. Very good. That was a lot of work, but well worth it. A couple little flaws here and there, but I think it's strong. That's the main thing. So, but I do want to put a reinforcement inside of here on both sides because of the weakness of this hood. So that's down the road a ways. That's why I didn't worry about finishing this. So the next step now is going to be making this part, basically, and the piece that goes down there. We'll probably do it in two pieces, but so that's coming next. I'm out of time for today. As I mentioned, it's always about spending the day here in the shop, working on whatever we're working on. I think this turned out really nice. If I was working with thicker metal here, I would have gotten a lot more aggressive, but there comes a point at which when you've ground it enough, you're like, I got to stop. There may be some little pinholes and things there, but you don't want to keep pushing, and then you end up thinning the metal down and you just cause more problems. Then you end up having to cut it all out and do it again. And with experience, you just learn enough. That's why I used 18 gauge in the middle, though, because it's really good and thick and gives me a lot of room to grind. So I'm grinding out of the 18 gauge into that 20 or 20. I'm thinking this might even be 21, 22 gauge steel. It's thin. Yeah, I would say it's probably 21 or 22. It's definitely not 20 like most panels are, but I suppose in the hood they were trying to keep it light, and for that inner structure, they didn't go real heavy with it. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you being here, and we will be back on this again real soon, and we are going to be back working on getting the trunk floor and the Stitches Challenger real fast also. Today I just wanted to do something different, something fun, so I could get something done, and I think we accomplished that. All right, that'll do it. We'll catch you on the next one, and don't forget, because it's important.